Rachel Torres was the perfect maid of honor, supportive, organized, devoted to her best friend Claire, until I walked into the bridal suite at 11:47 p.m. the night before the wedding and found Rachel holding a pillow over Claire's unconscious face, trying to smother her to death. This is the story of how I stopped a murder with less than 12 hours until the ceremony and discovered that the maid of honor had been obsessively in love with the groom for 7 years, watching him fall for her best friend, and planning Claire's death so she could finally have him.
Before we begin today's story, I'd love to know something about you. Tell me, from which city are you watching? Leave your answer in the comments below. Now, take a deep breath, sit back, and let's begin this journey together.
The consultation request came in early September, and everything about it radiated joy. Subject, November 16th date, wedding, best friend getting married. Hi, Maya. My best friend Claire is getting married, and I'm her maid of honor. She's been dreaming about her wedding since we were college roommates, and I want to help make it perfect. Can we schedule a consultation? Claire's at work, so I'm doing the initial research for her. She deserves the absolute best. Rachel Torres. It was sweet, enthusiastic, the kind of message that makes wedding planners smile, a devoted best friend helping a bride plan her dream day. I replied immediately and scheduled a consultation for the following week. They arrived together, Claire and Rachel, clearly close friends, finishing each other's sentences, laughing about inside jokes, the kind of friendship that's rare and beautiful. Claire Mitchell was instantly likable. Warm, genuine, elementary school teacher energy. Auburn hair, bright smile, the kind of person who makes everyone around her feel comfortable. Rachel Torres was polished and organized, dark hair perfectly styled, designer clothes, pharmaceutical sales, executive energy. She had a leather planner where she'd already started tracking wedding details. Rachel's been incredible, Claire said, squeezing her friend's hand. I'm so overwhelmed with work and wedding planning. She's basically co-planning this wedding with me. That's what best friends do, Rachel said with a smile. I want your day to be perfect. They told me their story. Claire and Michael had met 3 years ago through mutual friends, fell in love fast, got engaged last Christmas, planning a November wedding with about 150 guests. Michael is everything I ever wanted, Claire said, showing me her engagement ring, modest but elegant. Kind, funny, successful, loves kids as much as I do. We're talking about starting a family right after the wedding. I watched Rachel's face when Claire said this. For just a fraction of a second, maybe half a second, her smile faltered. Her jaw tightened. Her eyes went cold. Then the expression was gone, replaced by enthusiastic support. Michael's great. You guys are perfect together. But I'd seen it, that micro expression of, what, jealousy, pain, hatred? Red flag number 1, though I didn't understand its significance yet. Tell me about your friendship, I said. How long have you known each other? Since college, Claire said. We were randomly assigned roommates freshman year at Northwestern and became inseparable. 8 years of friendship. Rachel was there through every bad boyfriend, every career crisis, every life milestone. She's my sister in everything but blood. Best friends forever, Rachel echoed. But again, that micro expression, a flash of something dark before the smile returned. And you're comfortable being maid of honor, I asked Rachel. It's a big responsibility. I'm honored, Rachel said, literally honored. There's nothing I wouldn't do for Claire. The way she said it made my skin prickle. There's nothing I wouldn't do for Claire. Could be devotion, or it could be something more obsessive. But I dismissed the feeling. They were clearly close friends. I was reading too much into normal expressions. We spent 2 hours planning. Claire wanted elegant, but not ostentatious, garden ceremony, romantic reception, live music, focus on meaningful moments rather than elaborate decorations. Budget is $120,000, Claire said. Michael and I are splitting costs. His parents are contributing some. We're both financially stable. Michael's an architect, Rachel added. Very successful. Great salary, great benefits, great everything. Again, that edge in her voice when she talked about Michael. Not quite normal, not quite right. I'd love to meet Michael, I said. Does he want to be involved in planning? He trusts Claire's taste completely, Rachel answered before Claire could. He's letting her make all the decisions. He just wants to show up and marry her. He's been swamped with work anyway, Claire added, so Rachel and I are handling most of it. As they were leaving, Rachel hung back while Claire went to the bathroom. Maya, I need to ask you something, Rachel said, voice low. She's had some bad luck lately. Things keep going wrong. She lost an important document at work, had a car accident last month. Minor, but scary. Her engagement ringstone fell out and had to be reset. She's stressed, so I'm trying to make sure the wedding is perfect, no problems, no stress, just joy. That's thoughtful of you. I know her better than anyone. I know what she needs. I know what's best for her. The way Rachel said, I know what's best for her, gave me chills. It wasn't friendship. It was something more controlling, more possessive. I'm sure you do, I said carefully. Rachel smiled. Good. Because if anything threatens Claire's happiness, if any vendor causes problems, if anything goes wrong, I need you to tell me immediately. I'll handle it. Of course, I'll keep you both informed of everything. Just me, actually. Claire gets overwhelmed easily. I prefer to filter information, only tell her what she needs to know, keep the stressful details to myself. Can we do that? Red flag number 2. Maid of honor wanting to control all information flow to the bride. I typically communicate directly with brides about their weddings, I said diplomatically, but I can CC you on everything. Rachel's smile tightened. That works. After they left, I sat at my desk with that familiar feeling I'd learned to trust over 7 previous cases. Something was wrong. I couldn't identify what, but something about Rachel Torres bothered me. I made a note in my file. Watch Rachel. Controlling behavior. Odd micro-expressions when discussing groom. Over the next 6 weeks, I met with Claire and Rachel regularly for planning sessions. The pattern was always the same. Claire would be excited and warm, Rachel would be hyper-organized and controlling, and I'd notice small things that didn't add up. Observation 1. Rachel sabotaged Claire's choices. During a cake tasting in late September, Claire fell in love with a lavender honey cake. This is the one, Claire said. It's perfect. Are you sure? Rachel asked. Lavender can be polarizing. What if guests don't like it? What if Michael's family thinks it's too unusual? Michael will love it. He loves trying new flavors. But his parents are traditional. Chinese-American family, remember? They might expect something classic, vanilla or chocolate. Claire's face fell. You think they'll be offended? I'm just thinking about everyone's feelings. You want everyone to be happy, right? By the end of the conversation, Claire had switched to vanilla cake. Safe, boring, not what she wanted. Rachel had convinced her to choose something else through manipulation disguised as concern. Observation 2. Rachel inserted herself into every decision. When Claire and Michael went to look at ceremony sites, Rachel came along. When Claire's dress fitting was scheduled, Rachel insisted on attending. When Claire tried to plan a romantic dinner with Michael to discuss honeymoon destinations, Rachel suggested making it a group dinner. We barely have time alone anymore, I overheard Claire tell Michael. During one planning meeting I happened to attend, Rachel's always there. She's excited, Michael said. She's your best friend. She wants to be involved. I know, and I love her. But sometimes I feel like I can't breathe without her knowing about it. Just tell her you need space. I can't. She'd be so hurt. She's doing everything for me. Rachel was enmeshing herself in their lives, creating dependency, making herself indispensable. Observation 3. Rachel's bad luck campaign against Claire. In early October, Claire mentioned that she'd had another run of bad luck. I don't know what's wrong with me, Claire said during a planning meeting. I lost my work laptop. Turns out I'd left it somewhere, but I could have sworn I brought it home. Then I got food poisoning from my favorite restaurant. Then my car had a flat tire in a parking lot. It's like I'm cursed. You're just stressed, Rachel said soothingly. Wedding planning is overwhelming. You're not thinking clearly. But I was thinking clearly. And I was starting to wonder if Rachel was behind Claire's bad luck. Left laptop somewhere, or did Rachel hide it? Food poisoning from favorite restaurant, or did Rachel put something in Claire's food? Flat tire in parking lot, or did Rachel let the air out? I had no proof, just suspicion. But the pattern was there. Observation 4. Rachel's obsession with Michael. Whenever Michael's name came up, Rachel's entire demeanor changed. She leaned forward. Her voice would soften. Her eyes would focus intensely. "How's Michael feeling about the wedding?" I'd ask Claire. "He's excited," Claire would say. "He must be working hard to afford this," Rachel would add. "He's so dedicated, so responsible. Claire's lucky to have found someone so perfect." The way she said perfect wasn't how a friend describes another friend's fiancé. It was how someone describes their own fantasy. During one meeting in mid-October, Claire mentioned that Michael had gotten a promotion. "He's being promoted to senior architect," Claire said proudly. "Big raise, better title. He's worked so hard for this." Rachel's eyes lit up. "How much of a raise?" "Rachel, that's personal," Claire said with a laugh. "I'm just happy for him. For both of you, you deserve good things." But I saw the way Rachel's hands clenched, the way her jaw tightened. She wasn't happy for them. She was jealous, angry even. That's when I started truly investigating. I did what I always do when instincts scream. I looked into backgrounds. Rachel Torres, 29, pharmaceutical sales, successful career, single, active, social media showing glamorous lifestyle, but notably no romantic relationships. Her Instagram was full of photos with Claire, best friends forever, my person, love this girl. Hundreds of photos over 8 years, but noticeably fewer in the past 3 years. Since Claire met Michael, I scrolled back to posts from 2018 to 2019. Before Claire and Michael got together, Rachel posted constantly with Claire. Girls, trips, dinners, adventures. They looked inseparable. Then 2021 hits, when Claire and Michael started dating. Rachel's posts with Claire decreased dramatically. More solo photos, more work events, more living my best life. Captions that read like overcompensation. And one post from November 2021 that made my blood run cold. Photo of Rachel alone at a bar, drink in hand, caption, "Sometimes the person you want doesn't want you back. Sometimes your best friend gets the life you were supposed to have. Sometimes you just smile and pretend you're happy. Fake it till you make it. Just heartbroken. Moving on." Comments were disabled. Claire wasn't tagged, but the timing was 2 months after Claire and Michael got engaged. I screenshot the post. Next, I looked into Michael Chen. Michael Chen, 30, architect, Northwestern graduate, engaged to Claire for almost a year. Clean social media. Photos with Claire showing genuine affection, no red flags. But then I found his college Facebook still public, not updated in years. I scrolled back to 2016, 2017, his senior year at Northwestern. And there, in multiple photos from parties and events, was Rachel Torres, Michael and Rachel at a fraternity formal, graduation, at someone's birthday party. They looked close, very close, more than friends close. I found a photo from February 2017. Michael with his arm around Rachel, both smiling, caption from Michael, "Great night with this one." Comments included friends, saying you two are cute together and finally official. Michael and Rachel had dated, or at least been romantically involved. And Claire, based on her Facebook, didn't meet Michael until 2021, 4 years later, which meant Rachel dated Michael first, years before Claire met him. And Rachel had never told Claire. I needed to know more. I called Northwestern's alumni office under the pretense of verifying graduation dates for a client background check. I stretched the truth, but this felt important. The staff member confirmed. Michael Chen graduated 2017. Rachel Torres graduated 2018. Claire Mitchell graduated 2018. Were any of them in the same social circles? I asked. I can't share specific details, but all three were in overlapping friend groups. Senior year 2017, 2018, they would have known each other. So Rachel and Michael dated or were involved when he was a senior and she was a junior. Then he graduated and presumably they broke up. Rachel stayed for her senior year, where she roomed with freshman Claire. Did Rachel befriend Claire, knowing Claire's future connection to Michael? Or was it coincidence? I needed answers. I called an old contact, Jenny Park, a sorority advisor at Northwestern who'd helped me with background checks before. Jenny, I need information about students from 2016, 2018, specifically romantic relationships, Michael Chen, Rachel Torres. That's pretty personal, Maya. Why do you need this? I think the maid of honor in a wedding I'm planning may be obsessed with the groom. They dated in college. The bride doesn't know. I think the maid of honor might be dangerous. Jenny was quiet. Then, how dangerous? I don't know yet, but I need to understand what happened between them. Give me a day. Jenny called back the next morning. Okay, I asked around discreetly. Here's what I found. Michael Chen and Rachel Torres dated casually for about 2 months in spring 2017. He was a senior about to graduate. She was a junior. It was never serious. Michael saw it as casual. Rachel saw it as a relationship. When he graduated and moved to Chicago for work, he ended things. Rachel was devastated. Friends said she didn't get over it for a long time. How long? Multiple friends said she talked about him for the next year, even after graduation. She'd check his social media obsessively, ask mutual friends about him, fantasize about running into him in Chicago. Classic can't let go behavior. And then she became best friends with Claire, who later dated Michael. Wait, Claire dated Michael? The same Michael? Yes. Claire met Michael in 2021 through mutual friends. They've been together 3 years and are getting married in 3 weeks. Holy shit. Rachel's been friends with Claire this whole time while secretly still in love with Michael? That's my theory. Maya, that's obsessive behavior. That's years of pretending to be someone's friend while actually, what? Hoping Michael would come back to her? Hoping Claire would fail? Or planning to make Claire fail? You think Rachel would hurt Claire? I think Rachel's already hurt Claire. Bad luck. Claire's been experiencing laptop disappearing, food poisoning, flat tire, other incidents. I think Rachel's been sabotaging her for a while. Jesus, what are you going to do? I don't know yet, but I'm watching Rachel very carefully. The bachelorette party was scheduled for Friday night, November 15th, exactly 24 hours before the wedding. Rachel had organized everything: dinner at an upscale restaurant, then dancing at a trendy club, then back to the hotel where the bridal party was staying. I wasn't invited. Obviously, I'm the wedding planner, not a friend. But I had a venue walkthrough scheduled at the hotel at 8 p.m. to confirm ceremony setup for the next day, which meant I'd be there when the bachelorette party returned. The party started at 6 p.m. with dinner. Based on Instagram stories I could see, Claire's account was public, Rachel's was private, but some bridesmaids were posting. Everyone seemed to be having fun. Champagne, laughter, toast to Claire. But Rachel's Instagram story at 7:30 p.m. shows something odd. A photo of wine glasses with the caption, "To the bride, may she get everything she deserves." The phrasing bothered me. Not everything she wants, not all the happiness, but everything she deserves. That could be sweet, or it could be ominous. At 8 p.m., I arrived at the hotel for my walkthrough. The ceremony was being held in the hotel's garden courtyard, reception in the ballroom. I was checking that all vendor access points were clear, that tables were positioned correctly, that lighting was properly installed. At 10:15 p.m., the bachelorette party returned to the hotel. I could hear them from the lobby, laughing, slightly drunk, happy. A group of 10 women surrounding Claire, who was wearing a white dress and a bride sash. Rachel was at the center of the group, organizing, directing, making sure everyone got to their rooms safely. "Claire's in the bridal suite," Rachel announced loudly. "Everyone else, you're on the 5th floor. Let's get Claire settled, and then we can keep the party going in my room." The group headed to the elevators. Claire stumbled slightly. She was definitely tipsy. Rachel caught her arm. "Easy, bride-to-be. Let's get you upstairs and into some comfortable clothes. Big day tomorrow." "Thank you for everything tonight," Claire said, hugging Rachel. "You're the best friend anyone could ask for." "Anything for you," Rachel said. And the way she said it, with an edge of something dark underneath, made me uneasy. I finished my venue walkthrough by 10:45 p.m. Everything was ready for tomorrow. The wedding would be beautiful. I was heading to the parking garage when my phone rang. Hotel front desk. "Ms. Sinclair, this is the front desk. We have a situation with your wedding tomorrow. The florist delivery that was supposed to arrive tonight hasn't shown up. We're concerned about the timeline for tomorrow's ceremony." Damn. The florist had confirmed delivery by 10 p.m. It was now almost 11. "I'll call them." I said. Give me 10 minutes to sort this out. I called the florist, no answer. Called again, still no answer. Finally, on the third try, someone picked up. Sorry, Maya, we had a van breakdown. We're running late, but flowers will be there by midnight. Can you meet our delivery person to confirm placement? Yes, I'll be in the lobby. So instead of going home, I settled into the hotel lobby to wait for the flower delivery. At 11:35 p.m., my phone buzzed. Text from hotel security. Mrs. Sinclair, we have a noise complaint from the floor below the bridal suite. Can you check on your party? Management doesn't want to disturb the bride, but they're concerned. I sighed. My job never ends. I took the elevator to the 8th floor, where the bridal suite was located. The hallway was quiet, no noise. Maybe the complaint was resolved. I was about to head back down when I heard something. A voice coming from the bridal suite. Rachel's voice, talking to someone. No, talking to herself. It should have been me. It was supposed to be me. She stole everything, stole him, stole my life. But it's okay. It'll be okay after tomorrow, after tonight, after she's gone. My blood went cold. I moved closer to the door. It was slightly ajar, not closed completely. I could see through the crack, and what I saw will haunt me forever. Claire was lying on the bed, unconscious. Her body was limp, unresponsive. She was wearing white silk pajamas. Her face was pale. Rachel was standing over her, holding a decorative pillow from the hotel bed. Rachel's face was streaked with mascara. Her hands were shaking. She was crying. And as I watched in horror, Rachel pressed the pillow down over Claire's face. I didn't think. I just moved. I slammed the door open. Rachel, stop! Rachel spun around, pillow still in her hands. Her face was a mask of grief and rage and something broken. Maya, she looked confused, panicked. What are you? You can't be here. Get away from her. I ran to Claire, pushing Rachel aside. I pulled the pillow away and felt for Claire's pulse. Weak, thready, but there. She's alive, I breathed. Then I looked at Rachel. What did you do? What the fuck did you do? Rachel was backing toward the door, shaking her head. It's not, I wasn't, you were smothering her. I saw you. No, I was checking if she was breathing. Bullshit. Rachel, I saw you. You had a pillow over her face. You were trying to kill her. Rachel's face crumpled. She slid down the wall, sobbing. She took him. She took Michael. He was supposed to be mine. We were supposed to be together. But then she met him and he fell in love with her and forgot I even existed. You dated Michael in college. For 2 months, 2 perfect months. And then he graduated and ended things. And I thought when I introduced Claire to him at that party in 2021, they'd date casually and break up. And then Michael would realize he wanted me. But he fell in love with her. He proposed to her. He chose her over me. So you became her best friend. You pretended to support her while secretly hating her? I did support her. I love her. She's my best friend. But she doesn't deserve him. I know him better. I loved him first. She stole my life. So you tried to kill her the night before her wedding. Rachel was sobbing hysterically now. I didn't mean to. I wasn't going to. I gave her wine with Ambien. Just to make her sleep. Just so I could, I don't know, talk to her while she slept. Tell her everything I've wanted to say for years. But then she was lying there so peacefully, and I thought, if she just didn't wake up, if she just died in her sleep, it would look like she took too much Ambien and stopped breathing. An accident, a tragic accident the night before her wedding. And Michael would be devastated, and I'd be there to comfort him. And eventually, he'd remember what we had, and he'd choose me. I was holding my phone now, dialing 911. You're insane. I'm in love, Rachel screamed. I've been in love with him for 7 years. 7 years of watching her have everything I wanted. 7 years of pretending to be happy while dying inside. You don't understand. 911, what's your emergency? This is Maya Sinclair at the Fairmont Hotel, Bridal Suite 803. I need police and ambulance immediately. A woman has been drugged and there's been an attempted murder. Rachel lunged for my phone. No, don't. Maya, please. I stopped myself. I didn't actually do it. The pillow was barely on her face. I wasn't really going to. I stepped back, keeping the phone away from her. Stay away from me. Stay away from Claire. The 911 operator was asking questions. I was answering mechanically while watching Rachel. making sure she didn't try to run or try to finish what she started. Ambulance is 3 minutes away, the operator said. Police are 2 minutes away. Stay on the line. Rachel was sitting on the floor now, knees pulled to her chest, rocking back and forth. I wasn't really going to kill her. I needed to see. I needed to know if I could. But I couldn't. I stopped. I was going to stop. You have to believe me. You had a pillow over her face. For a few seconds, just a few seconds. I was about to stop. I swear I was. I didn't believe her. And the look on her face when I burst through that door, that wasn't someone about to stop. That was someone committed to murder. Within 2 minutes, hotel security arrived, then police, then paramedics. They took Claire immediately, still unconscious from the Ambien, but alive. Vital signs stable. She'd been seconds away from suffocation, but I'd stopped it in time. They arrested Rachel. She didn't resist. Just kept saying over and over, I wasn't really going to do it. I stopped myself. I stopped. A detective, not Sarah Chen, someone new, Detective Marcus Rivera, took my statement. You witnessed the attempt? Yes. Rachel Torres was holding a pillow over Claire Mitchell's face. Claire was unconscious from drugged wine. Rachel was smothering her. And you're certain it was an attempt to kill, not something else? I heard Rachel talking to herself before I entered. She said after she's gone, and it'll be okay after tonight. Then I saw her actively smothering Claire. It was attempted murder. Detective Rivera nodded grimly. Rachel Torres is being charged with attempted murder and assault. Claire Mitchell is being taken to Northwestern Memorial for observation. She should be fine. You stopped the attempt in time. What about the wedding tomorrow? I think the wedding is the least of anyone's concerns right now. He was right. But I was thinking about Michael, about what he'd wake up to, about learning that his fiancée almost died and his ex-girlfriend from college, his fiancée's supposed best friend, tried to kill her. This was going to destroy everyone involved. 8 hours until the scheduled wedding ceremony, 6 hours until Michael learns the truth, 4 hours until Rachel's full confession, 2 hours until we discover she'd tried this before. At 12:30 a.m., I sat in a hospital waiting room while Claire was being examined. Michael had been called. He arrived at 1 a.m. frantic and confused. Where's Claire? What happened? The police said there was an incident, but they wouldn't tell me what. Michael, sit down. His face when I told him was something I'll never forget. Incomprehension, then denial, then horror. Rachel tried to kill Claire. That's impossible. Rachel loves Claire. They're best friends. Rachel loves you, I said bluntly. You dated her in college. She never got over you. When you fell in love with Claire, Rachel pretended to be supportive while actually being consumed with jealousy. Tonight, she drugged Claire's wine and tried to smother her with a pillow. Michael's face went white. I dated Rachel. When? Spring 2017, your senior year, for about 2 months. He was struggling to remember. That was 7 years ago. We went out a few times. It wasn't serious. I barely remember it. When I graduated, we stopped talking. I thought she understood it was casual. She didn't. She's been obsessed with you for 7 years. And when you fell in love with her roommate, her best friend, she decided to eliminate the competition. Oh my God. Michael put his head in his hands. This is my fault. If I hadn't dated her in college, if I hadn't introduced Claire and Rachel to her at that party where we reconnected, you didn't know. Rachel hid her obsession perfectly. She played the role of supportive best friend for years. How is Claire? Alive, unconscious from Ambien, but the doctors say she'll be fine. She was seconds away from dying when I stopped Rachel. Michael started crying. I almost lost her because of me, because of something I did 7 years ago that I barely remember. A doctor emerged at Scootting AM. Claire Mitchell's family? I'm her fiancé, Michael said, standing. She's stable. The Ambien is wearing off. She should regain consciousness within the hour. No permanent damage from the brief oxygen deprivation. She's extremely lucky. Can I see her? Once she's awake, yes. At 2:45 a.m., I was finally cleared to leave the hospital, but Detective Rivera asked me to come to the police station first. We're interrogating Rachel Torres. I'd like you to observe. You're the only witness to the actual attempt. Your presence might help us get a full confession. I watched through the one-way glass as Detective Rivera questioned Rachel. She'd been crying for hours. Mascara stained her face. Her hands were handcuffed. She looked broken. Rachel, tell me what happened tonight. I didn't mean to hurt her. I love Claire. She's my best friend. Best friends don't try to kill each other. I wasn't going to kill her. I needed to know. I needed to see if I could, but I couldn't. I stopped before anything happened. The wedding planner witnessed you holding a pillow over Claire's face. Claire was unconscious. That's attempted murder. But I stopped. I took the pillow away. I wasn't actually going to go through with it. Rachel, let's start at the beginning. You dated Michael Chen in college, correct? Rachel's face crumpled. Yes. Spring 2017. We dated for 2 months. They were the best 2 months of my life. I thought we'd stay together. I thought he loved me. But then he graduated and moved to Chicago, and he ended things. Said it wasn't serious, that we'd always just been casual, but for me, it was everything. Did you stay in contact after he ended the relationship? I tried. I texted him, called him. He'd respond sometimes, but he was clearly moving on. I couldn't accept it. I watched his social media obsessively, asked mutual friends about him. I was pathetic. And then you became roommates with Claire Mitchell your senior year. Yes, fall 2017. We were randomly assigned, and she was wonderful, sweet, kind. We became best friends immediately. She helped me get over Michael, or so I thought. What changed? In 2021, I was living in Chicago, working, still single, still thinking about Michael sometimes, but trying to move on. And then Claire moved to Chicago after graduation. We reconnected, started hanging out again. And one night, I ran into Michael at a party. First time I'd seen him in 4 years. Rachel's voice became softer, more wistful. He looked exactly the same, still handsome, still charming. And when he saw me, he was friendly. Said it was great to see me, asked what I'd been up to. It was like maybe there was still a chance. Maybe after 4 years, he'd realized he missed me. What happened next? Claire was with me at the party. I introduced them. This is my college friend, Michael. This is my best friend, Claire. I thought they'd say hi and that would be it. But they started talking, laughing, and I could see it. The chemistry, the connection. The same thing Michael had with me, except more, stronger. You watched him fall in love with Claire. Yes. Rachel was crying now. Over the next few months, they started dating. Claire would tell me about him, about how amazing he was, how perfect, how she thought he might be the one. And I'd smile and be supportive because that's what best friends do. But inside, I was screaming because he was mine first, and he never looked at me the way he looked at her. When did you decide to hurt? Claire? I didn't decide. I never wanted to hurt her. I kept thinking that if they broke up, Michael would remember me, remember what we had. Maybe realize that Claire wasn't right for him, and I was, so I started making things harder for them. What do you mean? Small things. I'd plant doubts in Claire's mind about whether Michael was really committed. I'd accidentally mention stories about Michael's past that made him seem less perfect. I'd create little conflicts, tell Claire that Michael said something he didn't, tell Michael that Claire was upset about something she wasn't, just trying to create friction. Did it work? No. They got stronger, more in love, and then Michael proposed, and I realized he was never coming back to me. He'd chosen her, forever. And I'd spent 4 years pretending to be Claire's best friend while secretly hating her for taking the life I should have had. Detective Rivera slid a journal across the table. Is this your diary? Rachel's face went pale. Where did you get that? From your hotel room. You left it on the nightstand. Do you want to read some entries, or should I? Don't. March 2022. Claire showed me her engagement ring today. I had to pretend I was happy. I had to scream and hug her and act like this wasn't killing me. But all I could think was, that should be my ring. That should be my engagement. Michael should be proposing to me, not her. She doesn't deserve him. She doesn't even know him like I do. I've loved him for 5 years, and she's known him for 6 months. It's not fair. Rachel was sobbing. I was just venting. Writing helps me process feelings. June 2023. I hate her. I know I'm not supposed to hate her. She's my best friend, but I do. I hate that she gets to wake up next to him. I hate that she gets to plan a future with him. I hate that she took everything I wanted and doesn't even feel guilty about it. Sometimes I imagine her just disappearing and Michael being free again, and maybe then he'd remember me. That's just fantasy. October 2024. The wedding is in 6 weeks. 6 weeks until Claire gets everything I should have. 6 weeks until Michael marries her and they live happily ever after and I'm left alone watching them. I can't do this anymore. I can't watch this happen. I need to stop it. But how? Detective Rivera looked at Rachel. This isn't venting. This is escalation. You went from wishing Claire would disappear to actively planning to make her disappear. I never planned anything. I just wrote down feelings. November 10th, 6 days ago. I've been researching Ambien. How much would make someone sleep deeply enough that they wouldn't wake up if something happened? Like if they stopped breathing, it would look natural, an accident. Tragic bride dies in her sleep the night before the wedding. No one would suspect anything. The room went silent. You researched how to kill her, Detective Rivera said. You planned this. I was just curious. I wasn't actually going to. November 15th tonight. Tonight is the bachelorette party. Tonight is my last chance. Tomorrow she marries him and I lose my opportunity. If Claire dies tonight, the wedding doesn't happen. Michael stays single. Eventually he'll need someone to comfort him. Someone who knew Claire. Someone who understands. Me. It has to be tonight. Rachel put her head down on the table. I wasn't thinking clearly. I'd been drinking. I was emotional. You brought Ambien to the bachelorette party. You crushed pills into Claire's wine. You waited until she was unconscious. Then you went to her hotel room and attempted to smother her with a pillow. This wasn't impulse. This was premeditated attempted murder. But I stopped. Before Maya came in, I was about to stop. I couldn't go through with it. The wedding planner witnessed you actively smothering Claire. Your hands were on the pillow. The pillow was over Claire's face. You weren't stopping. You were caught. Rachel looked up at the one-way glass, directly at where I was standing, though she couldn't see me. Maya, I know you're watching. Please, you have to believe me. I wasn't really going to kill her. I was just testing myself, seeing if I could, but I couldn't. I love Claire. I'd never actually hurt her. Detective Rivera shook his head. Rachel Torres, you're being charged with attempted murder in the first degree, assault with intent to kill, and administering drugs without consent. You'll be held without bail pending trial. No, please, I have a job. I have a life. I can't, this will destroy everything. You tried to destroy your best friend's life first, attempted to end it permanently. Consequences are appropriate. As they led Rachel away, still crying and protesting, I felt sick. 7 years. Rachel had spent 7 years pretending to be Claire's best friend while secretly consumed with jealousy. Years of fake smiles and fake support and fake love, all building to one murderous moment. I returned to the hospital at 4:30 a.m. Claire was awake. Michael was sitting beside her bed, holding her hand. Claire looked confused and frightened. Maya, Claire said when I entered. What happened? The doctors say I was drugged, that someone tried to hurt me, but they won't tell me who. I looked at Michael. He nodded. Tell her. Claire, it was Rachel. Rachel? That's impossible. Rachel would never. Rachel drugged your wine at the bachelorette party. She put Ambien in it. Then when you were unconscious, she tried to smother you with a pillow. I walked in and stopped her. Claire stared at me like I'd spoken a foreign language. No, you're wrong. Rachel is my best friend. She's been planning this wedding with me. She'd never hurt me. Claire, Rachel has been in love with Michael for 7 years. She dated him in college before you met him. She's been obsessed with him ever since. When you two started dating, she pretended to be supportive while secretly hating you for taking him. Michael dated Rachel when? Michael's voice was gentle. Spring 2017, we went out a few times. It wasn't serious, at least not for me. I barely remembered it until tonight. But apparently Rachel never got over it. But she introduced us at that party in 2021. If she was in love with you, why would she introduce us? She thought you'd date casually and break up, I said. She didn't expect you to fall in love. When you did, and when Michael proposed, Rachel couldn't handle it. She's been sabotaging you for years. The lost laptop, the food poisoning, the flat tire, all the bad luck you've had. That was Rachel. No, Claire was shaking her head. No, that's not possible. Rachel's my best friend. We've been friends for 8 years. She was my maid of honor. She's been so supportive. She was performing, Michael said. Maya found her diary, years of entries about how much she hates you, how much she loves me, how she wishes you'd disappear. Last night, she tried to make that wish come true. Claire started crying. This can't be real. Rachel wouldn't. We've been through everything together. College, jobs, relationships, life. She's like my sister. She couldn't. I saw her, Claire, I said gently. I walked into your hotel room and saw her holding a pillow over your face. You were unconscious. She was trying to suffocate you. If I hadn't been there, you'd be dead right now. The reality hit Claire like a physical blow. She doubled over, sobbing. Michael held her, but there was nothing he could say to make this better. Your best friend tried to murder you. That betrayal goes deeper than almost anything else. The wedding, Claire finally said. It's supposed to be today in... She checked the clock. 4 hours. What do we do? We cancel it, Michael said immediately. Claire, you almost died last night. You were drugged and attacked. There's no wedding today. But everyone's already here. The venue is ready. The flowers, the food, everything. None of that matters. You matter. Your safety and recovery matter. Everything else is just details. Claire looked at me. Can you cancel? Tell everyone it's postponed? Of course. I'll handle all the vendors, all the notifications. You don't worry about anything except healing. What about Rachel? What happens to her? She's been arrested, I said. She's being charged with attempted murder. There will be a trial. Will I have to testify? Probably, but that's months away. Right now, you just need to focus on getting through today. At 6 a.m., I started making calls. To the venue. Claire Mitchell's wedding today is canceled due to a medical emergency. We need to cancel all vendor access, all food orders, everything, ref funds where possible. To the florist, don't deliver. The wedding is canceled. To the caterer, the band, the photographer, same message. Medical emergency. Wedding canceled. Apologies for late notice. To the 150 guests, Michael and I drafted an email that went out at 7 a.m. Dear friends and family, we regret to inform you that today's wedding has been canceled due to a serious medical emergency. Claire is safe and recovering, but the ceremony cannot proceed as planned. We apologize for the late notice and any inconvenience. We will provide updates when we're able. Thank you for your understanding. Michael and Claire. Deliberately vague. No mention of attempted murder, no mention of Rachel. Just medical emergency. Within an hour, the questions started pouring in. Concerned texts, phone calls. What happened? Is Claire okay? Do you need anything? Michael and Claire's families were told the truth privately. Everyone else got the sanitized version. Claire had a medical incident, she's fine. Wedding is postponed indefinitely. By 8 odd a.m., the venue that should have been hosting a wedding was being quietly dismantled. Flowers were returned. Tables were broken down. The beautiful garden ceremony space was empty, and Rachel Torres sat in a jail cell, waiting for her bail hearing. Over the next 4 days, Detective Rivera's investigation revealed the full extent of Rachel's obsession. Finding Dermka 1. Rachel's sabotage campaign was extensive. Police found evidence that Rachel had been systematically sabotaging Claire for 3 years. The lost work laptop. Security footage showed Rachel entering Claire's office after hours and taking the laptop from Claire's desk. She hid it in a storage closet where it was found weeks later. The food poisoning, Rachel had worked in pharmaceutical sales. She had access to emetics, drugs that induce vomiting. She'd put them in Claire's food at a dinner party, causing severe food poisoning. The flat tire, Rachel had let the air out of Claire's tires multiple times over the years, always when Claire was alone in parking lots. The lost engagement ring stone, Rachel had loosened the setting on Claire's ring, causing the stone to fall out. It cost Claire $800 to have it reset. The ruined job interview, Claire had mentioned a job interview for a promotion. The day of the interview, Claire's car wouldn't start. Rachel had disconnected the battery. Claire missed the interview and didn't get the promotion. Years of small attacks designed to make Claire's life harder without being obvious enough to suspect sabotage. Finding the two, Rachel had a previous victim. Detective Rivera called me on November 18th. Maya, we found something disturbing. Rachel Torres had another best friend before Claire, woman named Jennifer Park. They were friends in high school. What happened to Jennifer? In 2015, Jennifer started dating a guy named David Lee. Rachel had a crush on David. According to high school friends we interviewed, Rachel became increasingly jealous and unstable. Then in March 2015, Jennifer fell down a staircase at school and broke her arm and several ribs. The fall was ruled accidental, but it wasn't. Jennifer told friends at the time that she felt like someone pushed her, but she couldn't prove it. She and Rachel stopped being friends after that. Jennifer moved away after graduation. We contacted her yesterday. She confirmed that she always suspected Rachel pushed her, but never reported it because she had no proof. Rachel has a history of attacking women who date men she wants. Exactly. We're looking into whether there are other victims, but Rachel's pattern is clear. She becomes obsessed with a man, befriends any woman who gets close to him, then sabotages or attacks that woman if the relationship becomes serious. That's serial behavior. Yes. Which is why the DA is taking this very seriously. This isn't a one-time crime of passion. This is a pattern of predatory, obsessive behavior spanning a decade. Finding topic 3. Rachel had been planning the murder for weeks. Police analysis of Rachel's computer and phone reveal. Google searches. How much Ambien is lethal? Can suffocation be detected in autopsy? How to make murder look like accidental death? Ambien overdose symptoms. Pharmacy records. Rachel had filled an Ambien prescription for herself 2 months earlier, claiming insomnia. She'd saved the pills for the bachelorette party. Text messages to herself. Rachel had been texting reminders to herself. Bachelorette party, last chance. Make sure Claire drinks the wine. Hotel room 803. It has to look natural. Timeline planning. Rachel had a document on her computer titled After, outlining how she'd comfort Michael after Claire's death, how long she'd wait before reconnecting romantically. 6 months. How she'd position herself as Michael's support system. This wasn't impulse. This was premeditated, calculated, attempted murder, with a detailed plan for winning Michael afterward. Rachel's bail hearing was scheduled for November 20th, 5 days after the attack. The prosecutor argued Rachel was a flight risk and a danger to Claire. The defense argued Rachel had no criminal record and deep community ties. I attended the hearing. So did Claire and Michael. When Rachel was brought in, she looked directly at Claire, mouthed the words, "I'm sorry." Claire looked away. The judge reviewed the evidence. Diary entries, computer searches, pharmacy records, my eyewitness testimony, the pattern of prior sabotage. Ms. Torres, you are charged with attempted murder in the first degree, assault with intent to kill, and administering drugs without consent. The evidence against you is substantial. The premeditation is clear. The danger to the victim is ongoing. Bail is denied. You will remain in custody until trial. Rachel started crying. Please, Your Honor, I made a terrible mistake. But I'm not a danger. I'd never hurt Claire again. Please. You attempted to murder your best friend because she was marrying a man you dated briefly 7 years ago. That demonstrates profound instability and danger. Bail denied. As Rachel was led away, she looked at Claire one more time. I love you. I'm sorry. I never meant to. You tried to kill me, Claire said, voice shaking but strong. You drugged me and tried to smother me to death. Don't tell me you love me. Rachel dissolved into sobs as they took her back to jail. Rachel Torres remained in jail for 6 months, awaiting trial. During that time, Claire and Michael postponed their wedding indefinitely. Claire was in intensive therapy processing the betrayal. Michael was drowning in guilt that his brief college relationship had nearly gotten his fiancée killed. And I was left wondering, how many other perfect friendships hide obsession underneath? How many maids of honor are secretly jealous? How many best friends are actually worst enemies? In part 3, I'll tell you about Rachel's trial and her defense strategy, claiming temporary insanity from unrequited love, Claire's devastating testimony about 8 years of fake friendship, the revelation of 2 more previous victims. Rachel had attacked Michael's testimony about the brief college relationship he barely remembered. The verdict and Rachel's sentencing in part 4 I'll cover, where everyone is now, 3 years later. Whether Claire and Michael ever got married Rachel's time in prison and whether she shows remorse. The changes I made to screening maid of honor behavior. What this case taught me about jealousy, obsession, and the danger of unrequited love. Because Rachel Torres wasn't just a jealous ex-girlfriend. She was a predator who spent 8 years pretending to be Claire's best friend while waiting for the perfect moment to destroy her. And that moment came 13 hours before Claire was supposed to walk down the aisle.
Before we continue, if you're enjoying this story, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our upcoming tales. And while you're at it, drop a like and let us know what you think in the comments below. Now, let's get back to it.
72 hours until verdict, like 48 hours until Rachel's final testimony, 24 hours until sentencing, 12 hours until Claire faces her attacker. Rachel Torres's trial began on May 15th, 6 months after she tried to murder Claire. The prosecution's case was overwhelming. My eyewitness testimony of the actual attack, Rachel's diary with years of obsessive entries, computer searches about murder methods, pharmacy records for Ambien prescription, text messages planning the attack pattern of prior sabotage against Claire, evidence of previous victims, Jennifer Park from high school. The defense strategy was predictable. Temporary insanity driven by unrequited love. Rachel's attorney, Sandra Mills, argued in opening statements, Rachel Torres is not a murderer. She's a woman who suffered from undiagnosed erotomania, a delusional disorder where someone believes another person is in love with them. For 7 years, Rachel believed Michael Chen would eventually realize he loved her. When he married someone else, her delusion shattered. She experienced a psychotic break. What happened that night was not premeditated murder. It was a tragic mental health crisis. It was sophisticated spin, but it wouldn't hold up against the evidence. My testimony, day 2. I took the stand on the second day of trial. The prosecutor, ADA Jennifer Martinez, who'd also prosecuted Derek Matthews, walked me through November 15th. Miss Sinclair, describe what you witnessed at 11:47 p.m. in the bridal suite. I was waiting in the hotel for a flower delivery when I heard a noise complaint about the bridal suite floor. I went to investigate. As I approached room 803, I heard Rachel Torres talking to herself. She said something like, "It should have been me, and after she's gone." The door was ajar. I looked inside and saw Claire Mitchell unconscious on the bed. Rachel was standing over her, holding a pillow. As I watched, Rachel pressed the pillow down over Claire's face. "What did you do?" I ran into the room yelling at Rachel to stop. I pushed her away and pulled the pillow off Claire. I felt for Claire's pulse. It was there but weak. I called 911 immediately. How did Rachel react when you intervened? She was crying, panicking. She tried to claim she wasn't actually going to hurt Claire, that she was just testing herself. But I'd seen her actively smothering Claire. This wasn't someone who was about to stop. This was someone who was caught. Did Rachel make any statements about her motivation? Yes, she said Claire had taken Michael. That Michael was supposed to be hers. That she'd been in love with him for 7 years. She said if Claire died, Michael would eventually turn to her for comfort and remember what they'd had together. The defense attorney cross-examined aggressively. "Mrs. Sinclair, you said the door was ajar. Were you invited into that room?" "No, but I heard concerning statements and saw an active crime." "So you were eavesdropping and then entered without permission." "I was preventing a murder or interrupting a woman having a mental breakdown." Miss Sinclair, Rachel claims she was crying, holding the pillow, but hadn't actually placed it over Claire's face yet. Could you be mistaken about what you saw? No, the pillow was over Claire's face. Rachel's hands were pressing down. This was active suffocation, not just holding a pillow nearby. But you only observed for a few seconds before intervening, correct? long enough to see attempted murder in progress. The cross-examination didn't work. The jury could see I was a credible witness with no motive to lie. Claire's testimony. Day 4. Claire took the stand on day 4. She looked fragile, but determined. Ada Martinez asked her to describe her friendship with Rachel. Rachel and I were randomly assigned college roommates in 2017. We became instant best friends. She was, or I thought she was, the most supportive, loyal friend I'd ever had. We did everything together. Studied, traveled, navigated post-college life. When I moved to Chicago after graduation, Rachel was the first person I called. She helped me find an apartment, introduced me to her social circle. She was like a sister to me. When did you meet Michael Chen? In 2021. Rachel invited me to a party where she happened to run into him. She introduced us. I thought it was sweet. My best friend connecting me with an old college friend of hers. I had no idea they dated. Rachel never told you about her romantic history with Michael? Never. Not once in 3 years of dating and engagement planning. I found out the night she tried to kill me. Claire started crying. The jury was riveted. Tell the jury about the planning process. What was Rachel's role? She insisted on being heavily involved, more than a typical maid of honor. She wanted to attend every vendor meeting, make every decision with me, control every detail. I thought she was just being supportive. Now I realize she was inserting herself into every aspect of my wedding so she could, stop it? Sabotage it? Did you notice any concerning behavior from Rachel during the engagement? Looking back, yes. She'd make little comments like, "Are you sure Michael is ready for marriage?" Or, "Have you thought about what happens if this doesn't work out?" I thought she was just being a concerned friend. Now I understand she was planting doubts, trying to break us up. Tell the jury about November 15th, the bachelorette party. Claire took a shaky breath. We had dinner, then went dancing. Rachel kept refilling my wine glass. She was very insistent that I drink. It's your last night as a single woman. Let loose. She even ordered a special bottle of wine just for me. Said it was a gift. I should have known something was wrong when she wouldn't drink any herself. What's the last thing you remember that night? Being in the hotel room, changing into pajamas. Rachel was there, helping me. She gave me a glass of wine to help me sleep before the big day. I drank it, and then nothing. The next thing I remember is waking up in the hospital with Michael crying beside me and learning my best friend had tried to kill me. How has this affected you? Claire's voice broke completely. I trusted her. For 8 years, I trusted her. I told her my secrets, my fears, my dreams. I thought she loved me. And the whole time, she was pretending, hating me, sabotaging my life, planning my death. I'll never trust anyone the same way again. Every friend, every relationship. I'll always wonder if they're secretly hating me. Rachel didn't just try to kill my body. She killed my ability to believe people when they say they care about me. The courtroom was silent except for Claire's sobs. Even the judge looked moved. The defense attorney's cross-examination was brief and careful. Ms. Mitchell, I'm very sorry for what you experienced. But let me ask, did Rachel ever threaten you before that night? Not explicitly, but she sabotaged me for years. My laptop, my food, my car, my job interview. Did you know at the time that Rachel was responsible for those incidents? No, I thought I was just unlucky. So from your perspective, Rachel was a supportive friend up until November 15th? Yes, which makes the betrayal so much worse. Is it possible that Rachel experienced a sudden mental break that night? That she wasn't in her right mind? I don't care if she was in her right mind. She tried to kill me. Michael's testimony, day 5. Michael took the stand looking haunted. Mr. Chen, tell the jury about your relationship with Rachel Torres in college. We dated casually for about 2 months in spring 2017. I was a senior about to graduate. She was a junior. We went out a few times. It was never serious, at least not for me. When I graduated and moved to Chicago for work, I ended things. I thought we were on the same page that it was casual. Did you know Rachel was upset about the breakup? No, she seemed fine. We stopped talking after I graduated, but I didn't think anything of it. College relationships end when people graduate. It's normal. When did you next see Rachel? In 2021, 4 years later. I ran into her at a party. She seemed friendly, Said she was living in Chicago, working in pharmaceutical sales. She introduced me to her best friend, Claire. And that's how I met the love of my life. Michael's voice broke. Did you know Rachel was still in love with you? No, I had no idea. That 2-month casual relationship from 2017 was barely a memory for me. If someone had asked me to name ex-girlfriends, I wouldn't have even thought to list Rachel. It was that insignificant to me. But it wasn't insignificant to her. Apparently not. Apparently she'd been obsessed with me for 7 years, watching my social media, keeping track of my life. And when she introduced me to Claire, she wasn't being a good friend. She was testing whether Claire and I would connect. When I fell in love with Claire, Rachel started planning to eliminate her. How does that make you feel? Guilty. Michael was crying now. If I'd never dated Rachel in college, none of this would have happened. If I'd never gone to that party in 2021, Claire would never have been in danger. My brief, meaningless relationship from college almost got my fiancé killed. Mr. Chen, did you give Rachel any indication over the past 3 years that you had feelings for her? No, never. I barely interacted with her except at Claire's events. I saw her as Claire's friend, nothing more. Did Rachel ever express feelings for you? Never. She seemed happy for us, supportive, a good friend to Claire. If she was pretending the whole time, she was incredibly convincing. Jennifer Park's testimony, day 7. The prosecution's surprise witness was Jennifer Park, Rachel's high school friend. Miss Park, you were best friends with Rachel Torres in high school, correct? Yes, freshman through junior year. We were very close. What happened junior year? I started dating a guy named David Lee. Rachel had a crush on David. She didn't tell me at the time, but I could tell she was upset. She became distant, cold. Then one day in March 2015, I was walking down the stairs at school and I felt hands on my back, pushing. I fell down an entire flight of stairs, broke my arm and 3 ribs. Did you see who pushed you? No, but Rachel was behind me on the stairs. When I looked up from the floor, she was at the top looking down at me. She looked scared, guilty. She ran away before anyone else came. Did you report this? I told school administrators I felt like someone pushed me. They investigated but couldn't prove anything. Rachel claimed she wasn't even on the stairs, that she'd taken a different route to class. The school ruled it an accident. What happened to your friendship with Rachel after that? It ended. I knew she'd pushed me. I couldn't prove it, but I knew. I stopped talking to her. After graduation, I moved to California for college and never looked back. When did you learn about Rachel's attack on Claire Mitchell? Detective Rivera contacted me in November. He asked about my fall in high school. I told him everything I'd suspected but could never prove, and it all made sense. Rachel has a pattern. When someone she wants is with someone else, she eliminates the competition. The defense tried to discredit Jennifer. This was 10 years ago. You have no proof you could be mistaken. But the pattern was undeniable. Rachel had attacked women who dated men she wanted before. Rachel's testimony. Day 10. Against her attorney's advice, Rachel insisted on testifying. She took the stand wearing a simple dress, minimal makeup, looking small and broken. The defense was hoping for sympathy. Rachel, tell the jury about your relationship with Michael Chen in college. We dated for 2 months, spring 2017. They were the happiest 2 months of my life. I really thought he loved me. We spent every day together. He introduced me to his friends. We talked about summer plans. I thought we had a future. What happened when he graduated? He ended things, said it had been fun but casual, that he was moving to Chicago for work and needed to focus on his career. I was devastated. I'd been planning our future together and he'd just been passing time. How did you cope with the breakup? I didn't. I kept hoping he'd realize he made a mistake. I watched his social media constantly, asked mutual friends about him. I dated other people, but it never felt the same. Michael was the one. I knew it. I was just waiting for him to realize it too. When you saw him again in 2021, what were you feeling? Hope, excitement? I thought maybe this was my second chance. But then I introduced him to Claire and watched them fall in love. And I realized I'd lost him forever. He was never going to choose me. Why did you continue being Claire's friend? Rachel started crying. Because I loved her. She was my best friend. I wanted her to be happy. But I I also hated her, and I hated myself for hating her. It was like I was two people, one Rachel who genuinely cared about Claire, and another Rachel who was consumed with jealousy. Tell the jury about November 15th. I wasn't planning to hurt her, I swear I wasn't. But I'd been drinking, and as the night went on, I kept thinking, tomorrow Claire marries Michael. Tomorrow I lose him forever. Tomorrow my life is over, and I spiraled. I put Ambien in her wine because I thought if she just slept through the wedding, it wouldn't happen. Just a delay. But then when we got back to the hotel and she was unconscious, I thought, what if she just didn't wake up? What if this was my chance? Did you actually intend to kill her? I don't know. I was holding the pillow. I was thinking about it, but I don't think I would have actually done it. I think I was just testing myself, seeing if I could. And then Maya came in and I realized what I'd almost done, and I was horrified. So you're saying this was a momentary break from reality, not a planned murder? Yes. I wasn't thinking clearly. I was drunk, emotional, not in my right mind. If I'd been sober and rational, I never would have even considered hurting Claire. The prosecution's cross-examination destroyed her. Ms. Torres, you claim this was a spontaneous act driven by alcohol and emotion, but you'd been researching murder methods for weeks, correct? Yes, but I was just curious. You researched how much Ambien is lethal and can suffocation be detected in autopsy. Those aren't casual curiosity searches. Those are planning. I was in a dark place. You filled an Ambien prescription 2 months before the attack. You saved the pills specifically for the bachelorette party. That's premeditation, not spontaneity. I didn't know I was going to use them. You wrote in your diary on November 10th, 5 days before the attack, tonight is my last chance. If Claire dies tonight, the wedding doesn't happen. You'd been planning this for at least 5 days. That was just venting. You pushed Jennifer Park down the stairs in high school when she dated a boy you liked. You've sabotaged Claire for 3 years. Her laptop, her food, her car, her job. This wasn't one impulsive moment. This is a decade-long pattern of attacking women who have what you want. Rachel had no answer. She just cried. The psychiatrist battle, days 11 to 12. The defense called Dr. Ellen Morrison, a psychiatrist who diagnosed Rachel with erotomania. Erotomania is a delusional disorder where the person believes someone else, often someone of higher status or someone they admire, is in love with them. Rachel believed for 7 years that Michael Chen would eventually realize he loved her. When he married someone else, her delusion couldn't be maintained. She experienced a psychotic break. The prosecution called Dr. Robert Kim, who'd also evaluated Rachel. Rachel Torres does not have erotomania. She has obsessive compulsive personality disorder with narcissistic and antisocial traits. She knew Michael didn't love her. She knew her behavior was wrong, but she felt entitled to him, entitled enough to kill the woman who had him. This isn't mental illness, this is entitlement and rage. The dueling diagnoses left the jury to decide, was Rachel mentally ill or just evil? The jury deliberated for 8 hours. When they returned, the courtroom was packed. Claire and Michael sat in the front row holding hands. I sat behind them. Rachel sat at the defense table, hands clasped, praying or pretending to. On the charge of attempted murder in the first degree, how do you find? Guilty. Rachel's head dropped to the table. Her attorney put a hand on her shoulder. On the charge of assault with intent to kill, how do you find? Guilty. On the charge of administering drugs without consent, how do you find? Guilty. Guilty on all counts. Claire exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for 6 months. Michael pulled her close. They were both crying. Sentencing was scheduled for 1 week later. Before sentencing, victims gave impact statements. Claire's statement, Your Honor, Rachel Torres was my best friend for 8 years. I trusted her with everything, my secrets, my fears, my happiness. She was the maid of honor at my wedding, or would have been if she hadn't tried to kill me the night before. Rachel didn't just attack my body. She attacked 8 years of friendship. She made me question every memory, every laugh, every moment we shared. Were any of them real? Or was she pretending the whole time? I can't trust people anymore. When someone says they're my friend, I wonder, are they secretly hating me, planning to hurt me? I've lost the ability to believe that people are who they say they are. Rachel took years of my life. She sabotaged my career, my health, my safety. She tried to take my future. And the worst part, she did it all while smiling and telling me she loved me. I hope she goes to prison for a very long time, not just to punish her, but to protect the next woman who dates a man Rachel wants, because she'll do this again if given the chance. Michael's statement: Your Honor, I dated Rachel for 2 months in college. It meant nothing to me, but it meant everything to her. And my failure to recognize how unstable she was nearly got my fiancé killed. I carry guilt every day. If I'd never dated Rachel, if I'd been more clear about the relationship being casual, if I'd never gone to that party in 2021, if I'd paid more attention to her behavior over the past 3 years, maybe I could have prevented this. But Rachel is an adult who made choices. She chose to hide her feelings. She chose to befriend Claire under false pretenses. She chose to sabotage Claire for years. She chose to plan a murder. Those choices are hers alone. I support whatever sentence keeps her away from Claire and away from any other woman she might target in the future. Jennifer Park's statement: Your Honor, I was 14 years old when Rachel pushed me down the stairs. I broke bones. I was traumatized. But worst of all, I couldn't prove it. No one believed me. The school said it was an accident. For 10 years, I've wondered if I was wrong, if maybe I'd just tripped, if maybe Rachel hadn't actually pushed me. But now I know I wasn't wrong. Rachel has a pattern. She attacks women who have what she wants, and she's been doing it for at least a decade. If she'd been caught when she pushed me, maybe Claire wouldn't have been attacked. Maybe there wouldn't be other victims we don't even know about yet. Please don't give her another chance to hurt someone else. Rachel was given the opportunity to speak before sentencing. She stood, shaking, reading from a prepared statement. Your Honor, I take full responsibility for my actions. I was wrong. I hurt people I loved. I let jealousy and obsession consume me. I wish I could take it all back. I'm not asking for mercy. I'm just asking that you understand. I'm sick. I have mental health issues that went undiagnosed and untreated for years. I need help, not just punishment. I'll spend every day for the rest of my life regretting what I did. I'll never forgive myself. But I hope someday Claire and Michael and Jennifer can forgive me. She sat down crying. The judge was unmoved. Ms. Torres, you've shown sophistication in your crimes. You researched methods, you planned timelines, you hid evidence, you manipulated people for years. That demonstrates rational planning, not mental illness. You're not the victim of your emotions. You're the perpetrator of deliberate, calculated violence against multiple women over a decade. The court finds that you are dangerous to society. You have demonstrated a pattern of eliminating women who have relationships with men you want. You will do this again if released. Therefore, I sentence you as follows. Attempted murder in the first degree. 25 years in prison, assault with intent to kill. 10 years concurrent, administering drugs without consent. 5 years concurrent. Total sentence, 25 years in state prison, eligible for parole after serving 85% of sentence, 21 years. Additionally, you are ordered to have no contact with Claire Mitchell, Michael Chen, or Jennifer Park for the duration of your natural life. Any attempt to contact them will result in additional charges. Court is adjourned. Rachel was led away in handcuffs, still crying, but I saw her face as she passed Claire. For just a second, the tears stopped, and her expression was pure hatred. She wasn't sorry. She was angry she got caught. 3 years after Rachel's sentencing, I received an invitation in the mail. Claire Mitchell and Michael Chen invite you to celebrate their marriage. November 16th, exactly 4 years after the wedding that didn't happen. They were finally getting married. After therapy, after healing, after rebuilding trust, not just in each other, but in the world. I called Claire immediately. You're getting married. We are. Claire's voice was warm, happy, so different from the traumatized woman I'd seen in the hospital 3 years ago. We've been engaged this whole time, but we needed to heal before we could celebrate. We needed to make sure we were getting married for the right reasons, not just defiance against Rachel. And you're ready now? We're ready. It's going to be small, 30 people, just immediate family and friends who've supported us through all of this. And Maya, we want you there, not as our wedding planner, as our guest. You saved my life. You're family now. I'd be honored. Over coffee 2 weeks before the wedding, Claire told me about the past 3 years. The first year after Rachel's sentencing was the hardest. I was in therapy 3 times a week. PTSD from the attack, trust issues with everyone, paranoia that people were secretly hating me. I'd have panic attacks if Michael was late coming home, convinced something terrible had happened. How's your therapy going? Better. My therapist helped me understand that Rachel's actions weren't about me. They were about Rachel's mental illness and obsession. I didn't cause it. I couldn't have prevented it. It wasn't my fault. That's important to remember. Michael struggled with guilt. He blamed himself for dating Rachel in college, for going to that party where he reconnected with her, for not noticing her obsession. He was drowning in what ifs. How is he now? He's in therapy too. We do couples therapy as well. We've had to rebuild not just our individual mental health, but our relationship. Because getting engaged under normal circumstances and getting engaged under your best friend tried to kill you, circumstances are very different foundations. Are you worried about the wedding? About something going wrong? Claire hesitated. Yes, I have nightmares that someone will object during the ceremony, that Rachel will somehow escape prison and show up, that another person in my life is secretly plotting against me. The paranoia doesn't fully go away. But you're getting married anyway. Because I refused to let Rachel win. She tried to take my happiness, my future, my life. I'm not giving her that power. Michael and I are getting married because we love each other, because we choose each other. Rachel doesn't get to control our story. The wedding was beautiful but noticeably secure. Security guards at every entrance, metal detectors, guest list verification with photo IDs. No one entered without being vetted. We're taking no chances, Michael explained when I arrived. Claire needs to feel safe. Even though Rachel is in prison, even though she can't physically attend, Claire needs to know this day is protected. The ceremony was held in a private estate with only 30 guests, immediate family, close friends who'd supported them through the trial and recovery, and me. Claire wore a simple, elegant dress. No maid of honor. She had 2 bridesmaids, her sister and a college friend who'd stood by her, but no one in the traditional best friend role. That position had been poisoned by Rachel. Michael's best man was his brother. Reliable, trustworthy, no hidden agendas. The officiant was a family friend who'd known both Claire and Michael for years. When she asked if anyone objected, I saw Claire physically tense, waiting for drama that didn't come. I take you, Michael, to be my husband, to love in health and in sickness, in joy and in sorrow, through attacks and healing, through trauma and recovery. I choose you. Every day I choose you. Michael's vows were equally moving. Claire, you're the strongest person I know. You survived something that would have broken most people. You chose to heal. You chose to trust again. You chose me, even when trusting anyone was terrifying. I promised to be worthy of that trust. Every single day, they kissed. The 30 guests erupted in applause and tears. This was what the November 2021 wedding should have been: joyful, authentic, safe. At the reception, Claire gave a speech. 4 years ago, I was supposed to get married. The night before the wedding, someone I trusted, someone I loved, tried to kill me. That person is now in prison, and I'm here, alive, healed, married to the love of my life. She looked at Michael. Rachel tried to take everything from me, my life, my happiness, my future. But she failed. I'm still here, and I refuse to let what she did define me. I'm not the bride who was almost murdered. I'm Claire Mitchell Chen. I'm a teacher, a wife, a survivor, and I'm happy. The room stood and applauded. It was the most powerful wedding speech I'd ever heard. Rachel Torres, currently in prison. Rachel is serving year 3 of her 25-year sentence at Logan Correctional Center in Illinois. According to Detective Rivera, who's kept tabs on her case, Rachel has not been a model prisoner. She's had multiple disciplinary infractions, Rivera told me when I asked, with fights with other inmates, refusing to participate in therapy, insisting she's the victim. The prison psychiatrist says she shows no genuine remorse, only anger that she was caught and punished. Does she still claim she wasn't really going to kill Claire? Yes. She maintains that she stopped herself before I intervened, that she was never actually going to go through with it. Classic denial. Will she get parole? Not after 21 years if she continues this behavior. Parole boards look for remorse, rehabilitation, acceptance of responsibility. Rachel shows none of that. She'll likely serve the full 25 years, possibly more if she commits additional infractions in prison. Claire and Michael, thriving. Claire and Michael are doing well. They moved to a new city, Portland, Oregon, far from Chicago and memories of Rachel, for a fresh start. And Claire is teaching fifth grade at an elementary school and loves it. Michael is working as an architect at a firm that specializes in sustainable design. They're talking about having children but aren't rushing. We needed to heal ourselves before we could create new life, Claire explained. Claire still sees a therapist monthly for PTSD maintenance. Michael sees one quarterly. They do couples therapy every few months as a checkup. The paranoia is better, Claire said when I visited them 6 months after the wedding. I don't automatically assume everyone is secretly hating me, but I'm more careful about friendships now. I pay attention to red flags. I trust my instincts. What red flags do you watch for? People who are overly involved in my life. People who seem jealous when good things happen to me. People who create drama or sabotage subtly. I'm not paranoid, but I'm protective of myself now. Jennifer Park vindicated. Jennifer Park, Rachel's high school victim, finally got validation that her fall wasn't an accident. For 10 years, I wondered if I was crazy. Jennifer told me when I reached out after the trial. If I'd imagined being pushed. But Rachel's trial proved I wasn't wrong. She'd attacked me for dating David Lee, just like she attacked Claire for marrying Michael. How has knowing the truth affected you? It's healing. I'm not the paranoid girl who blamed her best friend for an accident. I'm a woman who correctly identified a predator. That distinction matters. Jennifer is now a domestic violence counselor in California, helping other victims of intimate partner violence and obsessive behavior. Rachel taught me what covert violence looks like, Jennifer said, how abusers can smile and claim to love you while systematically destroying you. I use my experience to help others recognize those patterns. Marcus Rivera, the detective. Detective Rivera has become specialized in cases of obsessive stalking and intimate partner violence. Rachel's case taught me that the most dangerous people are often the ones closest to the victim, Rivera said. Best friends, family members, people who have access and trust. Those are the ones who can do the most damage. Rivera now trains other detectives on recognizing patterns of covert abuse and obsessive behavior. After Rachel's case, I implemented new protocols for wedding planning. 1. Maid of honor. Screening. I now have an intake form specifically about the maid of honor, asks best man. How long have you known this person? Have they dated any of the people in your wedding party? Have they expressed any concerns about your relationship? Do they seem genuinely happy for you, or do you ever feel like they're jealous? If answers raise red flags, I investigate further. 2. Behavioral observation. During planning meetings, I watch dynamics between bride and maid of honor, best man. Does the MOH interrupt the bride? Does the MOH make subtle negative comments about the groom? Does the MOH seem possessive of the bride? Does the MOH try to control decisions? Any of these behaviors trigger a private conversation with the bride. 3. Background awareness. For high-profile or complicated weddings, I now ask about past relationships of everyone in the wedding party, any history of conflict between wedding party members. Whether anyone in the wedding party has expressed reservations about the marriage, I don't do full background checks. That's invasive, but I pay attention to red flags. 4. Bachelor party protocols. After Rachel drugged Claire at the bachelorette party, I now recommend bride groom should watch their drinks at all times. No one should handle the bridegroom's drinks except bartenders, sauce servers. Avoid excessive alcohol that impairs judgment. Always have a designated sober person responsible for the bridegroom's safety. As I've said, night before wedding security, I now recommend that bride's grooms stay in separate rooms from wedding party members the night before. Lock hotel room doors. Limit who has access to their room. Have a family member or trusted friend, not the MOH best man, do final check-ins. These changes have made me slightly paranoid, but probably safer for my clients. 8 major cases now. 8 times where planning weddings became investigating crimes. Lauren, saved from being poisoned by groom David, exposed as bigamous with multiple wives Chen family, immigration fraud is sister impersonation Sarah and Alex, LGBTQ couple forced to perform heterosexuality Amanda, fake terminal cancer to manipulate fiancé Tyler, saved from marrying woman faking terminal illness Jessica, saved from being murdered by groom for insurance money Claire, saved from being murdered by jealous maid of honor. Each case taught me something different, but Rachel's case taught me the hardest lesson of all. The people closest to you can be the most dangerous. We're taught to fear strangers, random attackers, outside threats. But the statistics show, and my cases confirm, that most violence comes from intimate partners, family members, close friends, people who have access, people who have trust, people who know your vulnerabilities. Rachel had 8 years of access to Claire, 8 years to learn Claire's routines, her passwords, her fears, her weaknesses, 8 years to position herself as indispensable. 8 years to sabotage while smiling. That's more dangerous than any stranger could ever be. After Rachel's trial, I became somewhat obsessed myself with understanding what drives someone to do what Rachel did. I read everything I could about erotomania, limerence, obsessive love disorders. I consulted with forensic psychologists. I tried to understand the psychology. Here's what I learned. Obsessive love isn't actually love. Love wants the other person to be happy, even if that happiness doesn't include you. Obsession wants to possess the other person, control them, eliminate anyone who has them. Rachel didn't love Michael. She was obsessed with the idea of Michael, with the fantasy she'd built in her head over 7 years. The real Michael, who dated her casually for 2 months and barely remembered her, wasn't relevant. She'd created a fictional Michael who loved her back. Obsession escalates when reality conflicts with delusion. As long as Michael was single, Rachel could maintain her fantasy that he'd eventually realize he loved her. But when he fell in love with Claire, reality threatened the delusion. Rachel had 2 choices: accept reality or eliminate the thing, person, disrupting her fantasy. She chose violence. Obsession often masquerades as friendship. Rachel genuinely believed she was a good friend to Claire. She helped plan the wedding. She organized events. She showed up. But good friendship doesn't include secretly hating the person. Real friends want you to be happy. Obsessive friends want you to fail so they can have what you have. Rachel's friendship was actually reconnaissance, learning Claire's vulnerabilities, positioning herself to strike. The most dangerous obsessives are the patient ones. Rachel waited 7 years. 7 years of watching Michael and Claire fall in love. 7 years of pretending to be supportive. 7 years of planning and positioning and preparing. That patience is what makes people like Rachel so dangerous. They don't act impulsively. They plan. They wait. They strike when they think they'll get away with it. If I hadn't accidentally been at the hotel that night, if I hadn't heard Rachel talking to herself, if I hadn't walked in at 11:47 p.m., Claire would be dead. And Rachel would probably have gotten away with it. 3 years after stopping Rachel, I still think about one question. How many other Rachels are out there? How many best friends are secretly consumed with jealousy? How many maids of honor resent the bride? How many people in wedding parties are there for wrong reasons, obsession, control, sabotage? I don't have answers. I can't know. What I can do is stay vigilant, watch for red flags, trust my instincts, investigate when something feels wrong. Because Rachel seemed perfect until she wasn't. She performed supportive best friend flawlessly for 8 years. The only reason I suspected anything was micro-expressions. Tiny facial expression lasting half a second that betrayed her real feelings. If I hadn't paid attention to those micro-expressions, I never would have investigated Rachel's background, never would have discovered her history with Michael, never would have been at the hotel that night. Sometimes the smallest details save lives. Claire sent me a wedding photo 6 months after her November ceremony. Claire and Michael, smiling, surrounded by 30 people who genuinely loved them. No fake friends, no hidden agendas, just authentic celebration. On the back of the photo, Claire had written, "To Maya, thank you for giving me the chance to have this day. Thank you for seeing what I couldn't see. Thank you for saving my life. You'll always be family." Claire, I cried reading it, because that's what this job is really about. Not flowers or timelines or perfect centerpieces. It's about bearing witness to love, protecting people when they're vulnerable, intervening when danger appears. Rachel Torres spent 8 years planning to destroy Claire's happiness, but she failed. Claire got her wedding, her marriage, her happy ending, and Rachel got 25 years in prison to contemplate the cost of obsessive love. If you've stayed with me through this entire story, through the friendship, the obsession, the murder attempt, the trial, the recovery, thank you. This case was different from my others because the villain was the person closest to the victim. Not a romantic partner, not a stranger, but the best friend, the maid of honor, the person who should have been celebrating with Claire, not trying to kill her. If you're planning a wedding and someone in your life seemed overly involved, overly controlling, or subtly negative, pay attention. Trust your instincts. Real friends support you. Obsessive friends undermine you. If you're in a wedding party and you have unresolved feelings about the bride or groom, get help, therapy, honest conversation, distance if necessary. Don't pretend feelings don't exist while they fester into something dangerous. If you're a wedding vendor and you notice concerning dynamics between bride and maid of honor, report it. Better to be wrong and embarrassed than silent and complicit in harm. And if you're Rachel, if you're someone consumed with jealous obsession over someone who doesn't want you, know that you have choices. You can seek therapy. You can accept reality. You can move on. Or you can destroy lives, including your own. One path leads to healing. The other leads to prison. 8 cases, 8 times planning weddings became preventing crimes. 8 times I had to choose between business convenience and moral responsibility. I'm a wedding planner. I create celebrations of love and commitment. But sometimes, the most important thing I do is recognize when love is actually obsession, when friendship is actually surveillance, when support is actually sabotage. Rachel Torres pretended to be Claire's best friend for 8 years while planning her murder. She came within seconds of succeeding. And the only reason she failed was because I happened to be in the right place at the right time, paying attention to micro-expressions and trusting my instincts. Sometimes the wedding gets canceled with hours to spare. Sometimes the maid of vice.
Thanks so much for joining us on this journey. If you loved this tale, please subscribe to Tin Tea Tales for more stories like this one. Hit that like button, leave a comment with your thoughts, and check out our latest uploads on the channel. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll see you in the next one.